Welcome to Jurassic Peak. Hello everybody and welcome back to Thomas Simulates and welcome back to Jurassic Peak. In the last episode we did the walk-through enclosure. I like to call it the petting zoo, although of course I discourage guests from approaching the barriers. But at least you get to see them up close and personal, and they are not too big that children will feel intimidated. We had a lot of fun designing that area, especially since it is, well, quite a tightly enclosed zone with a number of species. I believe there were 11 in total, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yes. Today we are going to be working on the next part of the park, which is going to be the Big Five. And I said in the last video about the Big Five. The Big Five, of course, is not only 5 dinosaurs, but it is 5 dinosaurs I think would fit in this area that aren't in other areas. And what do I mean by that is that the Big Five list doesn't include other dinosaurs. Really, there'd be like 10 dinosaurs, I think, would be my Big 10. And what I mean by Big 10 is the 10 dinosaurs that I grew up with as a kid. I memorized these 10 dinosaurs. They were my favorite dinosaurs. I loved these dinosaurs more than any other dinosaur. But naturally, some of these dinosaurs would not fit in this enclosure, such as the Brachiosaurus, which is already in Brachy Valley. That would be one of those iconic dinosaurs. The Plesiosaur, that is an aquatic dinosaur, so it doesn't fit in this area either. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is a dinosaur that deserves its own area. So we're already seeing a number of my favorite dinosaurs that are unfortunately not able to make it. So this area here is essentially going to house 5 dinosaurs that I think would fit together in this small space. This area that I'm working on now, though, I'm trying to set up for future episodes. So this particular area is sort of going to be the origin of a river. So I'm starting it here. This would certainly be where I would put my waterfall if I had one, Frontier. But I know in the Jurassic World Evolution 3 we are getting waterfalls. Unfortunately, water in Jurassic World Evolution 2 does not change elevation. It has to be perfectly flat, which is quite unfortunate. But we're going to make it work. So here I'm starting the origin of this river. And you will see in the next episode, which is going to be gigantic, where this river leads to. But for now, we have a river running through this enclosure area, which I will divide up in the near future. But first, we're just going to make it look good. So, of course, you're wondering what the Big 5 dinosaurs are. I'm certain that you can guess them. They are probably the dinosaurs everybody knows the name to. They are the Ankylosaurus, the Paracephalus, the Triceratops, the Pachycephalosaurus, and the Stegosaurus. Those are 5 of my favorite dinosaurs that can be housed together quite easily. Well, not together, but they don't need gigantic enclosures like the Brachiosaur. And they're not exactly special enough, I suppose. Unfortunately, they don't have the star power of the Tyrannosaurus. Now here, I'm setting up for the next episode. We're doing nothing with this in this episode, but I'm getting a head start now for some reason. And I'm setting up these pumps to sort of simulate the idea that I'm pumping water from one elevation to another elevation. It'll make more sense in the next episode, but unfortunately, because we're working with elevations here, even if they're very small elevations, I still have to find a workaround. And these pumps are going to be that workaround. I do like a challenge, of course, but I do wish that we could have flowing water. But perhaps in the future, I haven't seen with Jurassic World Evolution 3 if there will be much water movement or elevation change of rivers, if we'll have that ability. But at least we'll have waterfalls, which will visually look nice, and I can certainly use that. So this area here is going to be a part of the next episode. It is going to be, as I said previously, it is going to be really long. I think it's going to be 2.5 hours long. So if you're able to sit through that, I'm going to be very impressed. But I do recommend you get some snacks ready. That will be on Sunday, so a little heads up to get ready for that. So I'm just working my way down the elevations. I'm not entirely sure how many of these I'm going to be doing today, but I think there's going to be a few. The terrain constraints are a little bit annoying. We can certainly put this far back, and then we try to force the water back up against it, which can get it close, or at least closer. And I'm looking at these water towers, which are useful. There's a balance in a park between how natural you want it to be and how, I suppose, guest-friendly you want it to be. Of course, I'm imagining that any body of water in a tropical area is going to have a lot of mosquitoes and a lot of biting bugs, so we may have to put some sort of insecticide in the water to keep it clean, perhaps something that is more dinosaur friendly. But it's a balance. Here's me trying to push the water and get it a little tighter, if I can, against these items, these scenery objects. So I'm just trying to do what I can here. But of course, it's good to get a head start on it because this episode is not as long as the next episode, and we don't want to make one episode too long and one episode too short. I do really like how it turns out, though. You might be amazed, but that's why we always do a before and after. I suppose of each episode we show what before and after looks like. Again, this is all setting up for the next episode. Maybe I should have cut this part out, but I am showing you the changes of this map from its original design that I spent 7 hours terraforming to what it will be as a final product. So I don't want to change too much, too radically, where you will say, when did you do that? I do some small decorating outside of filming. So after an episode is done, if I think, oh, I'll just go through and do a little bit extra decoration, I do that. So that is something that I do, but it's not exactly what I would call extreme or cheating. You know, like in Minecraft, if you watch Minecraft Let's Plays and they're like, I just did some decoration off screen, and they built an entire town and a castle, and they completely redid the nether. I don't do that sort of thing. That's definitely too much. I know I skip this part here. I go back for it, of course. So this is for next episode. At least this will hopefully get you excited for what we're going to do next time, because the next episode is really crazy, and in a way where I'm crazy for doing it, for going through all this effort when I should just make simple park. But it's good. It feels good to challenge myself. This is definitely the biggest park I've ever done. I've done small parks. Usually I like to stick to the pre-made designs for a park layout where they tell you the boundaries and it's a strange shape. This is a big square map and I'm using every part of it. Maybe not for dinosaur enclosures, but I am using every part to make an overall experience. So here we're finally starting the episode. We are 11 minutes in and we're doing the actual episode for today, episode 4. I've done the outline and now we are just putting in these enclosure areas. We are doing 5 in total. So it is a departure from yesterday's 11 enclosures. Even the episode before, Bracky Valley, we had, I believe, 8 enclosures. So this is probably the smallest amount of enclosures we've had yet and will have. I don't think there's an episode with less enclosures except for, I believe, the final episode, which I haven't filmed yet. I haven't done it yet, but I've gotten pretty close and I've sort of measured out the area, and I see that I think there will be just a few dinosaurs at the end, not too many. Here I've made a land bridge for the path to go along. Again, if I haven't said already, I'm not taking dinosaur needs into consideration when it comes to water or plants necessarily. I'm more trying to work on a visual aesthetic rather than a park built around needs. And that goes for people as well. I'm pretty sure there's not a single bathroom in this entire park, unless you count the bathroom in the guests' hotel room. But unfortunately, if you're considering it by what people need, then people are going to be holding in their bladder for their time here. Here I'm just changing the color. I like to use the paintbrush to tell me where the elevation changes are. It's just visual and it's not always needed, but at least when I'm doing work later, I can quickly see where my areas are. And of course, while we're doing this prep for the next episode, I'll say if you like the content, please do consider subscribing and liking the video. I do value your input, and also do consider leaving a comment, because I do respond to every comment that at least requires a response. Some comments are not really needing a response, but if you ask a question or if you just say something interesting, hey, I'll respond to it, because I'm also interested in my viewers and I want my viewers to be happy. I am trying a lot of different things on this channel now, and I'm trying to find the sweet spot. But this is primarily a simulation channel, of course, so keep that in mind. I won't be doing too much outside of that. Please excuse the dog if you can hear that out there. It's not my dog, by the way. But I do hear it a lot. Here we're going to be getting this path nice and tight. I really do like having it. It almost makes me feel like it's a bridge of some sort. Although I do hope in Jurassic World 3 we can get some real bridges. Here we're just considering our viewing gallery for an unnatural period of time. I'm not reading it, I'm just considering it. But because we're so close to the main hub, I am sticking with the Jurassic World aesthetic. So Jurassic World viewing galleries, Jurassic World observation areas. And considering fences, I have a few fences I like. Because I'm playing on peaceful sandbox mode, there's no danger of breakouts. So I'm mainly just using the fences that I find visually pleasing. So I like this one, I like the one underneath it, and I like those two number 2s to the left of it on the hub or the radial there. Those are my favorite fences, mainly because they offer the best visibility through the bars compared to other fences that are just too heavy duty. Because although the game doesn't really take it into consideration, guests can view the dinosaurs while they're walking on the path, and that's a part of the experience here. So in the previous park tour I did take the dinosaurs' privacy into consideration. I made it so that they could only be viewed from specific angles, if at all. Like they were viewed the way I said they should be viewed. But in this park, it's a little less caring about dinosaur privacy. Here I'm just considering the shape I want the enclosures to be, because I do want there to be some areas for guests to sit and enjoy, but I'm putting the viewing galleries in first, and then I'm doing the fence next to them. I don't always do that, but sometimes I do, when I'm going for a specific shape or experience. I am using a different fence here. I do end up changing some fences, but I forget what the final fence design is. I'll explain more when we get to that part. So again, my favorite dinosaur is the Ankylosaurus. It's my favorite dinosaur of all time. I don't know if I've already said the story, but I went to Japan a couple years ago, and I saw the dinosaur remains of Zool on display, which was quite spectacular. It's just so amazing how you can see all the muscle fibers and the skin. Zool sort of looked like one of those rugs, one of those bear rugs that you see on the ground, where it's just all stretched out, like it's melted, but the skin is still there. It's quite interesting. So that was really a special experience, because it's probably one of the most well-preserved dinosaur specimens in the world. And I did get to see it with my own eyes, which was cool. I wish they had some better merchandise for Zool, though. When I went, I wanted to buy maybe something a little more exotic. But I don't think they didn't have anything, I really thought. And I'm very willing to spend a bit of money on some Zool merchandise, considering I was there. But The fact that I didn't just shows that nothing really was too eye-catching in terms of merchandise. The Triceratops, classic. The Pachycephalosaurus is pretty cool. I always thought that it was such an interesting dinosaur because it, has a big hard head like myself. The Parasaurolophus is pretty cool. That dinosaur I was considering saving for the next episode because the next episode is going to maybe have something that could incorporate the Paracephalophus, but I decided not to. The dinosaur is really cool though. I love the what would you call that? A thing on its head? I'm not entirely sure if it's a bone or some other appendage, but it's very interesting shape. So when I was a kid, I used to love that dinosaur too. Of course, the Stegosaurus is such a classic. I do love that. That Stegosaurus is probably my second favorite dinosaur in all the world. So they get, of course, the best cages, or enclosures I should say, of this entire build this episode, episode 4. But don't worry, I do give the other dinosaurs plenty of comfort and happiness. Pretty sure I end up changing this fence. It's nice and all, but I don't like how high the base is. It's really high, and unless you walk right up to it, you can't see too well beyond the fence. So I'm pretty sure that I end up changing that to a different fence. I should include that sometimes I will do stuff without filming it. I do sometimes forget that I'm recording. I don't think there's an indicator that you're recording unless you press the share button on the PlayStation, so sometimes I forget. And then I end up doing something where I don't record, but it's not much. It'll be like I've made a fence or something. So here you can already see I did most of this enclosure, but you're not missing much. Oh, I did 2 enclosures. Okay. So you're going to probably see me change the fence now. Here I'm just considering it. I have a few different fence types, but here is where I sort of get down to ground level and decide that this fence is just too high. Look at that. I'm 6 feet tall and I can hardly see through it. But this one, you can see through it even from the path. So of course we have to change it. Well, I will change it. What am I doing here? Well, we'll do the path first, I suppose. So here I'm just making some larger areas, which will be, I suppose, visitor hubs. Not hubs, but lounging areas where they can sit and enjoy a coffee. I'm probably going to change every restaurant to a coffee shop just for the memes, I suppose would be the best term. I want to emphasize people's needs for caffeine in this park, especially when there's so much to see and do, and there's so many places to sit. I really should be using smaller paths on these viewing galleries. They don't need the largest path. Please tell me I skipped this part. Yes, good. I don't want to show you me filling in every one of these because I'm a little bit embarrassed by my technique. So I am trying to cut them out entirely. So here's the next one, magically edited. Yes, perfect. Okay, I'm showing you this one. I mean, I just struggle. I'm not gonna lie. Is that all of them? Nope, one more. Okay, please tell me we changed the fences now. I can't bear to have told you about it and then I don't change it for 20 minutes. Okay, here we go. So I'm changing all the fences. This is a lot easier to view, but the only place I'm keeping the fences is over the water. Mainly because I want to imagine as if these fences are also holding the water back in a sort of dam system. So there'd be pipes going underneath those higher walls, and it would be useful in that way, sort of role-playing. So I keep the heavy fences there, although I guess I don't do it there. But you get the idea. But for the guests, they can view the dinosaurs safely from the path, because you know, if you get too close to the fence you might upset the dinosaur, make it act a bit territorial. Maybe it will think you're invading and it will become a hazard or a danger. So we want to make it as easy as possible to see from the path. Don't tell me I missed that. Okay, I think I have to go back and do that on my own. I didn't even realize I missed a piece. Okay, I'll put that on my list of things to do. So here I'm putting in the Triceratops statue, which obviously means that I'm going to put the Triceratops there. I wish they had a statue for my precious Ankylosaurus, but they do not. They do have this, though, Stegosaurus. I'm just deciding where I'm going to put it, and I've decided the Stegosaurus will get the biggest enclosure. And that is in hopes that perhaps I will be treated a little bit with a little more favor. In case anybody's favorite dinosaur is the Stegosaurus, and they see that I've given it the biggest enclosure, well, that makes me a good boy, doesn't it? Now we're going to do some decoration using these spotlights. The spotlights work pretty well. Of course, you have to get the distance just right, that it illuminates, but it doesn't shine too brightly. There is a sweet spot. And now some decorations. I've kept these heavier fences right next to the enclosure just in case people want to get a little too close while they're waiting to go in or sitting with their back turned. We wouldn't want anything bad to happen. And I'm not sure if I already said this in a previous episode, but I have turned off closed the park. One reason that I have done that is because I have a lot of guests who want to come in, especially as we get further into the episode or into the series, the 10-part series. 9 parts will be building, and the final part 10, will be the park tour. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's just a console issue or if it's a Jurassic World thing, but the game really stutters hard when I'm opening the park. When the guests start pouring in, I'm not sure if I just keep it open and it'll balance out and everything will become smoother as time goes on and the guests funnel in, but at least in the time when the park is just opened and the guests are coming in, the game just lags like crazy. It's unplayable. No, it's not unplayable, but it would probably be unwatchable if you were watching my series. So I'm keeping the park closed, and I don't think I'm going to open it for you. Later on in my series, I do add a control building or something where the staff come in, and even they were lagging my game. So I don't even want to include that. Here we're just decorating using some odds and ends. These, I would say that there are maybe 2 or 3 sort of categories of plant decorations, and they really seem to just change in color. But there's flowering plants, and then there's sort of tropical leafy plants, and then there's desert plants. So these are great for flowers. And the variations are kind of small beyond that. So here we have some deserty plants, and they look pretty good. I do try to mix it up with my planters, but I do not like the wavy planter. I don't think I have a single one on this park build. I just don't really think it fits anywhere. This is a bit too far into the path, if you ask me. There we go, problem solved. I like these sticks. What are they called? Poles. They look kind of like incense sticks, or perhaps you can imagine that they have some sort of insect repellent on them. And they just are letting off this insect repellent smell. Keeps the mosquitoes off the guests as they're traversing the park. This is a park, though, that I think people will need their malaria vaccinations and other tropical illnesses to be vaccinated for, because the amount of water on this park is pretty high, especially standing water and still water, which is where mosquitoes love to breed. So I imagine the mosquito count would be in the millions. But with a little bit of imagination, we can imagine that we are doing our best to keep the mosquito numbers down. Here we're adding more sunshades. They are pretty nice. And I'm considering putting the bench underneath. I don't know why I keep even trying. I know that the hit box is too big. And it's interesting because you can get some objects very close to other objects, but I guess it's because it's really just 2D. It's not 3D when it comes to the box. So you can't put things underneath the shade of the overhanging shade part when the standing part is just so small. They won't allow it. Here I'm putting in the second of 2 sitting areas. I do want people to sit in different places. I want them to enjoy their coffee. Takeout coffee is a big part of this park. So you don't just have to drink it at the cafe. I want you to be able to sit down in a few areas within, 400 meters of the park or of the cafe, and there will be garbage cans for you to throw your coffee cups away. Of course, I do try to keep the area decorated with different designs, so I do try different things like this, putting these in between amber planters. So far, though, I have noticed, at least where I'm doing the actual filming now in the series, I'm pretty far along in the actual filming part of the series, and I haven't noticed too much of a frame rate drop from all the decorations. I do think there is a frame rate drop, but it's not huge. It is noticeable, I suppose, but not too big. So I'm pretty pleased with that because I'm not holding back, I would say. But I am playing on PlayStation 4. I would not dare such a large project on... I'm playing on PlayStation 5, but I would not dare such a project on PlayStation 4. Which is where I played the game the most. It was PlayStation 4. I only got a PlayStation 5 quite recently, but I do recognize the limitations of the system, the PlayStation 4 system. Here I'm putting the founder on the hill. This is John Hammond statue. I think it's nice while you're sitting on your chair, drinking your coffee, you see John Hammond staring down at you. I was considering putting a pile of poop somewhere nearby, but I haven't found a place yet for that. Okay, we're going to start putting our dinosaurs in, and we're only halfway through the episode, so that's a pretty good step. That means that we're going to start doing our enclosures. Now, as I said, at least in the previous episode, I was trying to do the enclosures as I wait for the dinosaurs to arrive, because I have the breeding facility, or the cloning facility, I suppose, a hatchery, located really far away. I put it on the mountain, so it takes so long for the dinosaurs to arrive, and they only arrive one at a time if you're releasing them by helicopter. If you release them into a pen and then you tranquilize them and then you airlift them over, then they will arrive, I think, together. But if you release them by airlift from the hatchery itself, they arrive one at a time. So I'm doing this here where I put the dirt down to simulate movement in between these water bodies. It's a new technique to me. I can't say that I have been doing this forever, but I do think that it works really well. And then I put shorter grass in the area. Well, I should say natural grass. So here's our first species here, and it is the Triceratops. And a nice view of the visitor hub in the background, and you can just see the helicopters in the distance on the mountain coming, so you can see how long it takes. And usually they don't bring the next dinosaur until the first dinosaur has been delivered. So that means that it's like 20 minutes to deliver just one set of dinosaurs. So now we go back to detailing, considering what grasses are good. But again, I don't really take into consideration what the Triceratops wants to eat. I'm more interested in just what looks good. This ornamental grass, of course, is my favorite. Mainly because it gets rid of those strange looking bushes and it adds in some more visually pleasing bushes that are shorter as well, which makes it easier to view from the viewing gallery. So I'm just adding some forest here, not because they need it, but also to enclose this area away from the other area. I want it to feel like you're approaching something different when you come from the petting zoo area, or the, I suppose I would call it the walk-through enclosure. And we're going to decorate a little bit. Rocks are probably one of the most important decoration tools for dinosaur enclosures. So I do use them a lot, but in future episodes I do speed up the footage a lot because it takes so long. And people don't want to watch that for, you know, an hour. Putting down rocks. But rock tree combo, that's the secret right there, the rock tree combo. I just find that the bushes really blend so well with the rocks. Here I'm just going to connect these elevations from one pond to the other. And that way it will also be easier to view the Triceratops from the viewing gallery. Now we're moving on to our next enclosure, and this one was... I believe I wasn't able to wait. I just had to release my favorite dinosaur. So this is the Ankylosaurus. Removing all of the foliage so that I can start with a fresh palette. A fresh canvas. I'm considering the idea that the water is sort of continuing on from that river's origin, and it's moving into here.
Asset transportation.
Again, I don't really have an idea of what I want to do before I do it. I'm mostly going off of feeling. But again, that's why I'm quite impressed with how well it all works out.
Asset delivered.
So here I'm just trying to separate this area from, I suppose, the other area, to give the illusion that there's almost two parts of the enclosure. So by adding something like that in, it makes the water area separate from the behind area. Here comes our first resident. I don't recall if I put in more Ankylosaurus or if there were different variants. Or at least I just did different colors. I know that I did do that. I know that there are multiple colored Ankylosaurus. I think 2 of one color, 2 of the other color. But I forget if they were different variants. Which is another thing, I think they should include that in the dinosaur information that you can see on the screen. It should say what variant they are. Are they default or are they a certain year? But that's just what I think. So here we have our most special boy. Now here's a plant I don't use too much, but I do like it. I don't think there's a plant I don't like in Jurassic World Evolution 2, but I would say that one, that sort of pine tree, but this one there, did you just see it? I was on it. That one just to the right of this Tempskia. I don't like that one. I'm not gonna pretend I know the names of the trees. This tree I like. So I go with a mixture here. Tempskia. And then we've got some leafy climbers. I will be putting my dirt tracks in before I forget, hopefully. So I'm just dividing the enclosure in half, basically. I know I could have had 2 viewing galleries here, but I decided against it. Besides, when you're walking through here, you can see the dinosaur from almost every direction. Here we're doing our dirt. So I imagine that there would be essentially 2 areas where these dinosaurs would be laying, lounging, sunbathing. Okay, so I've just put down the flares for the next 2 Ankylosauruses. And we're doing some rocks. Again, there's no color scheme. I'm not trying to choose,
Transportation
you know,
underway.
one color. I am using all rock colors. Not all of them in one enclosure, but I am trying to just interchange rocks, colors, and types in the enclosures. So this enclosure has temperate rock number 2. Well, temperate rocks, and other enclosures have tropical and what have you, desert. And we're using our favorite brush.
Assets in the air.
You see, I don't want trees to be in front of the rocks so much. I'd rather them to be in the rocks. Here we go. Our next resident here is a much lighter color. Again, that's an issue on console at least, is I can't seem to find a viewer when I'm cloning the dinosaur. I can't seem to find a viewer to view the dinosaur with the colors. I essentially just have to guess what colors look good. Okay, we got our next enclosure here. Which one is this? Triceratops? Are there? Well, I mean, it can only be the Pachycephalosaurus. Yep, that must be it, the Pachycephalosaurus. So we're working on that enclosure, and you can see I have, I think, about 5 of them coming. This is the smallest of the enclosures.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Pachycephalosaurus to the park.
Transit has commenced.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome a Pachycephalosaurus to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome
Yeah, it's one thing I like about this
Pachycephalosaurus
game
to the
is that
park.
sometimes when you get the shrubs down and they just fit so perfectly where you want them to, it's really special.
Asset being transported.
Here comes the helicopter. So in the
Asset has
far
been
distance you
transported.
can see where I have my cloning hatchery area. So there he is there with his hard head, or her hard head. I think, were all the dinosaurs girls, I think? I forget. You get the idea. I just like to have a little look at them before I go
Asset
back to
delivery
building
confirmed.
and show them off a bit for you.
Confirming asset delivery.
So of course we're going to add some, well, bigger trees in this area. We don't want it to be too open, too barren. We want it to be looking good, having some density. Oh, we're going for palm trees, are we? No, we're going for these trees.
Asset delivery confirmed.
But of course, what you want to achieve, sometimes it's about density. The best tree for density is the palm tree and those great big leafy trees together, but you don't get the density too close to the fence, which is something that you have to keep in mind. And sometimes it can look really ugly when there's so little density on either side of a fence. So some trees are better than others in certain situations. Here we're using our tropical rocks, which I do like. They look a bit like almost volcanic. And this is something, just making it feel like the rock, well, the rock display is coming through the fence,
Delivery has been completed.
also makes it feel more natural. Like it's naturally forming. Like we just built around it. And then we use our palm tree brush here. Perfect.
Collecting asset. Confirming task.
Okay, I'm spoiling the surprise, but next up is the Stegosaurus. And how many of them do we have here?
Asset in
We've got
transit.
6, 7? I don't remember it being that much. But what I do know is that we have 2 different types of Stegosaurus. So maybe I just did both types at the same time. 3 of one, 4 of the other. I am trying to include the variants as well, and it doesn't count as a different species, so the dinosaurs should get along, technically, if they don't like each other, or if they don't like other dinosaurs. At least they'll like themselves. So here, because we have this beautiful river running through, I'm going to incorporate that.
Asset has been collected.
There's the helicopter. Can you see it way over there? It's tiny. It's right on top of the mountain. Unfortunately, that is an issue. I don't want it to be nearby. I don't want to have it in my park, so I keep moving it away from where I'm building. The next episode is the worst when it comes to delivering dinosaurs, because it's pretty much as far away as you can possibly get.
Transportation underway.
So you see there's a gap next to the fence that looks pretty ugly, but we work with it. We have to work with it. Now we're going to put in our dirt areas here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased
So this is pretty cool. It's like we're gonna make it like they're going across the river here.
Asset transportation in progress.
Okay, so here's our first Stegosaurus coming in for landing. I forget which one comes first. If there is a special movie color variant, I do like to give them a try. But if not, then I usually just go for what sounds good.
Before I got into the paleo-curation game, even I knew of the Stegosaurus. Those plates running along its length from head to tail make it one of the most iconic dinosaurs. Our guests are gonna want to see it, so make sure you do right by this animal.
Yeah,
Transporting asset.
definitely be doing right. So here we have a real beauty. Here we have another one coming in. This one looks like a different color, so it must be the other variant. Sometimes I have difficulty even telling them apart. Like, the odd time you'll get a very obvious difference, but I think for this one it was the head and the neck. Here's me trying to tell them apart, trying to have a look at the difference. Yeah, there's probably a difference somewhere about that. Wow, they're really coming quick. That's another thing, is the odd time you'll get them transporting them rapid fire, and then other times they're really slow. So I'm just going to continue finishing this area off here.
Asset transportation complete.
I'm just trying to lighten up this dirt area a little bit. By just gently tapping the grass brush, I can sort of blend them reasonably well.
We are pleased to welcome a Stegosaurus to the park.
Commencing asset transit. Asset transported.
Well, I guess the one variant certainly has more scales compared to the other one. Seems to have more thick skin. That's definitely something I see. I was under the impression that the head was different, but I can only go off of a little picture. There's a beautiful interaction. I don't know if they're friends or not. If that's friendly or what.
Assets in the air. Delivery complete.
So out of these 5 enclosures, only the Stegosaurus has 2 viewing galleries, which is an added honor, I suppose. Even my precious Ankylosaurus does not have 2 viewing galleries, so it is quite special. This area is starting to look very nice. I love how the ground cover has really blended so well with the dirt. And now for the rocks. Yep, that's just perfect. How the palm trees just pop right up in between them. Of course, sometimes you get a palm tree coming through a rock, but when it does go in between the rocks, it
Transit
just
has
looks so
commenced.
good. Here we are adding the final species of the day, the Parasaurolophus. And again, I believe I have 2 different variants, or at least I have 2 different colored variants. I'm pretty sure, or even 3 color variants, I forget, but I did add the one from Jurassic World. Was it Dominion? The one with the blue streaks. When I'm pretty sure, I don't even want to make a fool of myself to try and remember. Unfortunately, that movie was
Asset in transit.
a little bit confused with the previous movie, Fallen Kingdom, in my memory, so I'm getting the details too mixed up. But that does happen from time to time. So again, we're going to dirt this water feature here, and I should really dirt the other one too. Just like this. Now here I'm just considering, I like to imagine that these dinosaurs do enjoy the water. There's a number of dinosaurs I think they lie on their resume when they say they only want 6% water. I think it's ridiculous. Some of these dinosaurs, they have like webbed feet, and they just have a mouth that looks like it's made to eat water foliage, you know, wet leaves and stuff, like a duck's beak. Some dinosaurs have that sort of face, and this is certainly one of those dinosaurs I think would do a lot better in a wetter environment, especially with that horn appendage on their head, which would make their voices sound out better. I think the acoustics of the water would really help that. So, I mean, look at those hands, they're flat. I bet this thing could really swim. But that's why generally in a lot of park builds I do, I really ignore that part. If I turn their needs off, I'm definitely going to put them in a 50% water area. Because it's ridiculous to think they only like 6%. But then again, I wasn't around back then, so I don't know what they really liked. It's just how they're depicted, how they're shown.
Assets in the air.
But they are a lovely dinosaur. Definitely, I mean, when I was growing up, there wasn't a huge list of dinosaurs that I had access to. You know, the movies were even a little limited in the dinosaurs they had, and books at the time, they had some, like, good variety, but I used to have to go to the library to borrow books with dinosaurs in them, so these were definitely my favorite of the ones I know.
Transportation underway.
Well, some of my favorites, you know. Ankylosaurus is my favorite. Oh, that one's laying down. Here, we're just getting that foliage just right. It really
Asset
looks
has
so
been
good
delivered.
when you get it just right. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. This is a really great grassland shrub because it sits lower. So there's definitely a use for it, which I'll go into detail in the next episode because I use it a lot. It's very valuable.
Asset
Every
delivered.
plant in this game has sort of a unique function it can serve. So these are great, not just for that beautiful flower that sometimes pops up, but for other reasons too. Here I'm just cleaning up the water. I forget if I put anything in it, but you know, there's a difference between a river and a swamp. So we don't want it to be full of seaweed and trees growing like it's it's got wet water trees. Here I'm showing the difference. You see the difference of these colors. Here we've got this lovely green. The other one there, you can see that first one I put in. That dinosaur's colors are sort of the standard what people think about when they think about the dinosaurs. That's that tan color. So it's a pretty iconic color.
Delivery has been completed.
So, yeah, I see here. I put down another 2 flares for 2 more of these dinosaurs, but with the blue pattern from the movie. I believe that the dinosaur has a lot of official movie patterns. I think it has 4 or 5, but I believe it has 3 movie patterns from just Dominion or Fallen Kingdom. It doesn't say what movie, it just says a year. I think, yeah. Because there's 1997 patterns, there's
Asset transportation underway.
other patterns. So they don't tell you what movie it's from, but... Yes, look at that. I believe that the 3 patterns from this single movie are the same. It's just the colors are different, but I could be wrong. But I just thought we should get the blue one in because it's special. You can tell when they're going to do an animation. It's like they sort of freeze awkwardly. But it's pretty nice to know because when you're watching them, it's good to get that sort of confirmation that they're going to have an animation. So I actually do prefer it that way. Here we're just having a little look to see what we can see. I think this is Triceratops. So you see with these fences how much better it is. Just from the walking path. This one was is that the Ankylosaurus? Or, no, that was the Pachycephalosaurus. So we're not missing much if we miss them. Sorry if that's your favorite dinosaur. I don't know if you can tell, it's my least favorite of the 5. No offense. Here's the Stegosaurus enclosure. They're somewhere over there. But again, you get the option, you know. You might be lucky. You might see them anywhere. Like, we're on the other side of the enclosure right now, and we're seeing the dinosaurs. That's pretty cool. This is Ankylosaurus. You might need some binoculars for these ones. I think it goes well with that mesh on the bottom, because as you can see when we come around, there's an Ankylosaurus very close here. And his head is very low, so you wouldn't want him to bite through the bottom fence there and, you know, take your shorts off or bite your shoes. or knock you with his tail. Now we're just going to give some detail to the path. This is something that I do everywhere in the park, but I don't want to do it in the main hub. I prefer that area to look cleaner. But this makes it look more natural and more, I suppose, give you a better experience, like you're really in it. You're walking through the Jurassic world. Okay, we're almost done here. There we are, finished it. So, there we have it. The episode is now finished, pretty much, and we have added 5 beautiful dinosaur species to our park, the Big 5, right next to the tourist hub. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and hopefully you found your new favorite dinosaur, or you've seen your old favorite dinosaur. I really enjoyed this build, mainly because these dinosaurs have some size to them, and they're very iconic. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Jurassic Peak.